art that judges. He passes now from the general to that which is specific, from the masses to the individual person, and he addresses any person of the human race, but he limits it to those who judge others. Now, the word here for judge carries the thought of judging with an adverse verdict. It can be translated, "Whosoever thou art that condemnest another." Therefore, this raises the question, what should be the attitude of a believer today toward this awful, horrible group who are mentioned in Romans 1? It should be this. We should want them to get saved. We should try to get the gospel to them. They are poor, lost creatures. It should be, as the human writer Fanny Crosby expressed it, rescue the perishing, care for the dying, snatch them in pity from sin and the grave. Weep over the erring ones, lift up the fallen, tell them of Jesus, the mighty to save. This should be our attitude while making it clear that they need to be saved and delivered from perversion and immorality. For though thou judgest does the same thing, may give a wrong impression. Same in the Greek auto, and the meaning is not identical things, but things that are as bad in God's sight as the awful, depraved act of the heathen, which are offensive to the culture and refined sinner. Let me illustrate. I heard a man who is not saved say that he didn't believe that hell could be hot enough for Hitler. My friend, he is sitting in judgment. He is taking the place of God. And you and I are sitting in judgment on those who are not on our plane. We use society standards today, and it varies. If someone does not measure up to the standard of your little group, you condemn them. I know how churches where members can get by with lying, with being gossipers, and with being dishonest, but they couldn't get by with smoking a cigarette. They would be condemned for that. My friend, when you judge other people, you are assuming the position of judge. God is saying that by the same token that you have the right to judge other people by your standards, He has the right to judge you by His standards. If you could see yourselves as God sees us, we could see that we are obnoxious, we are repugnant. What contribution have you and I? What contribution can you and I make to heaven? Would we adorn the place? I get the impression from some people that heaven is going to be a better place when they get there. Yet the earth has not been a better place since they have been here. My friend, they try to deny God the same privilege you and I have of sitting in judgment on others. Well, God is going to judge you, and He won't judge you by your standards, but by His standards. Does that begin to move you? It ought to, because I have found that we don't come up to God's standards. I think the hardest thing to get somebody who goes to church is to realize they're just as bad as Hitler. Now, Paul puts down the principle by which God will judge and the refined and cultured sinner. Here is the first great principle. And so that can